Have you ever been disrespected and felt your blood boil? Maybe it happened at work, during a family argument, or even with a stranger on the street. In that moment, it's like all your balance vanishes and anger takes over. But here's a hard truth that few people will tell you. Other people's disrespect is inevitable. Your reaction is what defines everything. The great Stoic masters, like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, understood that true strength lies in staying calm when everything around you invites chaos. Imagine having such control over your mind that no offense can touch you anymore, that every provocation becomes an opportunity to show who you truly are. In this video, I'm going to share 10 Stoic lessons to deal with disrespect. These are practical, transformative teachings used by some of the greatest leaders in history. The final lesson is the most powerful and will completely change the way you handle offenses. So stick around until the end, because you deserve the peace and confidence of someone who is unshakable. If you're tired of losing your cool over people who don't deserve it, this video is for you. And before we get started, tell me in the comments, when was the last time you faced a situation where you were disrespected? How did you react? Let's learn together how to master our emotions and take back control. Lesson 1. Control over your reactions. Imagine this. Someone at work criticizes you in front of others in an unfair and rude way. Your first reaction would probably be to defend yourself, strike back, or even lose control. But what do you really gain from that? Nothing but more stress, hurt feelings, and an even worse situation. Here's the secret the Stoics mastered. You can't control what others say or do, but you can control how you respond. Epictetus famously said, "It is not events that disturb us, but our opinions about them." This means the offense itself has no real power over you. What truly hurts is how you interpret it. When someone disrespects you, you have two options. React impulsively, handing control over to the offender. Pause, reflect, and choose a response that you control. How can you apply this in practice? Next time someone provokes you, do the following. Stop. Don't respond immediately. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, does this situation deserve my peace? Recognize that the power lies in your response. If you remain calm, you win. Here's a real example. Think about Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor. He was constantly criticized, even by his subordinates. But instead of reacting with anger, he reminded himself, if someone insults me, it's because they see the world their own way. That has nothing to do with me. He chose not to give power to the offender. The question you need to ask yourself is, why give your peace of mind to someone who doesn't deserve it? Lesson 2. The power of silence. Think of a time when someone tried to humiliate or provoke you, hoping for an explosive reaction. People like that thrive on conflict, waiting for you to lose control and stoop to their level. But silence has immense power, often greater than any words you could say. The Stoics knew that silence is a powerful response because it disarms the offender. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, faced constant criticism and insults. He had the power to respond with force or anger, but he chose not to react. His calm wasn't weakness. It was a demonstration of inner strength. Silence unsettles those who seek conflict. Imagine someone insulting you, and instead of reacting, you simply look at them, breathe, and stay serene. They lose the power they thought they had over you. In that moment, the offense loses its impact. Epictetus taught that we shouldn't be shaken by the words of others because those words belong to the speaker, not the listener. When used wisely, silence sends a clear message. You will not be manipulated by other people's emotions. Remember, staying calm is an act of self-control and mastery. Next time someone disrespects you, try responding with silence and see how the power dynamic shifts. What do you think? Have you ever tried staying silent when someone expected you to react? If not, give it a shot. It's worth testing. Lesson 3. Ask yourself, does this really matter? Sometimes we let ourselves get consumed by small situations. A criticism at work, a rude comment on the internet, or even a mean joke can throw us off balance. But before you react, stop and ask yourself, does this really matter? This reflection is a core principle of Stoicism. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said that we waste so much time and energy on irrelevant things while life passes us by. How many times have you obsessed over an offensive comment that, in the end, had no real impact on your future? When someone disrespects you, try this simple exercise. Imagine looking at the situation from the future. 1 year from now, will it still matter? If not, why sacrifice your peace now? Most conflicts and offenses are so small that when we look at them from a distance, we realize how insignificant they are. Picture this. Someone in traffic insults you because you took a second too long to move. You could react, honk, and stress about it all day. But honestly, will that change your life? No, it will only distract you and rob you of your peace. The Stoics teach us to save our energy for what truly matters. So, next time someone disrespects you, take a deep breath and ask yourself, does this deserve my attention? Most of the time, the best response is to move on and let it go. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Have you wasted too much time worrying about small things? What would happen if from now on you chose to ignore what doesn't carry real weight in your life? Lesson 4. Disarm the offender with calmness. When someone disrespects you, the expected reaction is anger, defensiveness, or attack. This creates a cycle of conflict where both sides end up hurt and the offender feels victorious. However, the Stoics teach us something surprising. Responding with calmness is the best way to disarm someone trying to provoke you. Imagine someone yelling at you or using offensive words. Instead of retaliating in the same tone, you simply look into their eyes and respond in a calm voice. I'm sorry you feel that way. I hope your day gets better. The effect is immediate. The aggressor who expected a fight is met with an unexpected response. Your calmness exposes their lack of control and leaves them uncomfortable. Marcus Aurelius, as emperor, faced countless criticisms and attacks. Yet he said we should treat those who offend us with kindness and compassion. Why? Because the other person's anger belongs to them, not to you. Your calm response not only preserves your peace, but also shows that you are bigger than the situation. Think of disrespect as a hot ember being thrown at you. If you catch it and throw it back, you get burned too. But if you refuse to hold on to it, it falls to the ground and burns out. Responding with calmness is choosing to let the ember drop. Next time someone tries to get under your skin, try responding with something positive or simply smile. By doing this, you take the power away from the person trying to provoke you. And remember, true strength is keeping your dignity intact. Have you ever tried reacting calmly in a conflict? What happened? Share your experience in the comments so we can reflect together. Lesson 5. Don't take it personally. When someone disrespects us, our first reaction is to think, this is about me. What did I do to deserve this? But here's the truth, the Stoics knew deeply. Someone else's disrespect isn't about you, it's about them. Epictetus said, we shouldn't worry about what's outside of our control, and other people's words or actions definitely fall into that category. An offense is often a reflection of the offender's frustrations, fears, or insecurities. The problem lies within them, not you. Think of it this way. Someone who verbally attacks or unfairly criticizes you carries an internal burden you can't see. Maybe they've had a bad day, personal struggles, or they simply don't know how to handle their emotions. When you understand this, you create a distance between what was said and how you feel. The offense loses its power because you realize it's not a reflection of who you are. Picture this. You're doing great work, But a coworker criticizes you harshly. Your first instinct is to take it personally, question yourself and feel bad. But what if you reminded yourself that their criticism is just an expression of their struggles? By choosing not to absorb the offense, you remain in control. Next time someone disrespects you, tell yourself, "This isn't about me, it's about them." Let the offense pass like the wind. It touches the surface, but doesn't affect you inside. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Other people's opinions are their problem, not mine." You can't control what people think or say, but you can choose not to let it affect you. That choice is freeing and spares you from unnecessary weight. Have you ever stopped to think that someone's disrespect might have more to do with it? Lesson 6. Use disrespect as an opportunity for growth. Have you ever considered that a moment of disrespect might actually be a hidden opportunity? The Stoics believed that external challenges are the perfect training ground for developing our virtues. In other words, disrespect can be the workout you need to strengthen patience, humility, and resilience. Imagine an athlete who never faces resistance. How would they build strength? Similarly, you can't develop self-control without situations that push you to your limits. When someone disrespects you, see it as an invitation to practice calmness and moral superiority. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How can I grow from this situation?" Seneca said that life gives us what we need to evolve, not necessarily what we want. So, a rude comment or an unfair criticism might be life's way of testing you, giving you a chance to prove what you're capable of. When you respond with serenity, you show that you are not a prisoner of circumstances or emotions. Imagine someone humiliates you in a meeting at work. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But instead of falling into the trap of anger or shame, you decide to use that moment as a test of humility and composure. You look at the person with respect and respond calmly without losing your poise. That reaction not only disarms the aggressor, but also strengthens your dignity and self-confidence. When viewed through a Stoic mindset, disrespect stops being a personal attack and becomes a gift, an exercise that makes you stronger, wiser, and better prepared for future challenges. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that life is a constant opportunity to practice, and every difficult situation is a chance to demonstrate virtue. The next time someone disrespects you, see it as a test. The question is, will you let it get the better of you, or will you use it as an opportunity to grow? Have you ever thought this way before? How did you react to situations that could have been turned into valuable lessons? Share your thoughts in the comments. Lesson 7. The wisdom of ignoring sometimes. The best response to disrespect is no response at all. This might seem strange in a world where we're constantly encouraged to stand up for ourselves or prove something to others. But the Stoics saw wisdom in choosing to ignore what doesn't deserve our attention. Epictetus said we should focus only on what's within our control. What others say or do, that's outside your control. How you decide to respond, that's entirely yours. When you choose to ignore a provocation, you demonstrate a rare mastery over your emotions. Instead of falling into the trap of conflict, you preserve your peace. Imagine someone provokes you online with offensive comments. Your first instinct might be to respond, prove your point, or even humiliate them back. But what do you really gain from that? Nothing but stress and unnecessary emotional exhaustion. Now think of the opposite. You read it, smile, and move on, as if the offense were a leaf blown away by the wind. That person loses the power they thought they had over you. The Stoics compared disrespect to a barking dog on the street. Would you stop to argue with it? Of course not. Likewise, certain situations and words simply don't deserve your attention. Ignoring isn't weakness, it's proof that you're above the situation. Seneca taught us, we must not waste time engaging in small battles. Life is too short to spend on things that add no value. When you choose to ignore, You're telling the world, my peace is worth more than this. Next time someone disrespects you, ask yourself, does this person or situation deserve my energy? More often than not, the answer will be no. Breathe, smile, and move on. Have you ever ignored a provocation that could have disrupted your peace? If so, how did you feel afterward? Share your experience in the comments. Lesson 8, reinforce your virtues. When someone disrespects you, the most common reaction is to give in to impulse and act the same way. But it's precisely in those moments that you must remember who you are and who you want to become. The Stoics teach us that you should always act in accordance with your virtues, no matter how others behave. Marcus Aurelius, who faced betrayals and insults even as an emperor, wrote in Meditations, "What others do is outside my control. What I do is my responsibility." In other words, someone else's disrespect cannot be an excuse for you to abandon your values. Your response must always be a conscious choice. Think of it as an opportunity. Every difficult situation is a test to reaffirm who you are. When someone insults you, you can respond with anger or you can demonstrate patience. When they treat you with rudeness, you can react in kind or you can choose kindness. The choice is yours. And every time you choose to respond with virtue, with calm, respect, and self-control, you grow stronger. Imagine a colleague provokes you in front of others. You could snap back, but instead, you maintain your dignity. By doing so, you show that your actions aren't determined by others, but by your principles. And believe me, that makes a much greater impact. People admire those who keep their composure under pressure. Remember, no one can take away your integrity unless you allow it. As Seneca said, virtue is the only wealth that cannot be stolen. Every time you respond with honor, you strengthen the person you want to become. The next time someone disrespects you, ask yourself, is this worth it? Is my response aligned with who I am? Choose virtue, choose control, and strengthen your character. Have you ever managed to hold on to your virtues in a moment of provocation? How did it feel? Share your experience in the comments. Lesson 9. Accept that the world is imperfect. One of the biggest sources of frustration when dealing with disrespect is expecting the world or people to be perfect. We ask ourselves, why did this person act like that? Or why is the world so unfair? But the Stoics teach us a powerful truth. The world is imperfect, and it always will be. Accepting this is freeing. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on human nature. He said people will make mistakes, act rudely, and disrespect others because that's simply part of life. Expecting everyone to behave according to your standards is the fastest path to frustration. True wisdom lies in accepting that disrespect is inevitable, but your response to it is a choice. Think about this. You don't get upset when the sky is cloudy or when it rains. Nature does what it does, and you simply accept it. Similarly, other people's behavior is something you can't control. When someone disrespects you, see it as part of human nature. It's a fact you can't change. What you can change is how it affects you. Imagine a driver cursing at you in traffic or someone treating you poorly during a customer service interaction. You can spend the whole day stewing over it, or you can accept, this person is acting according to their own nature. I won't let it change who I am. Accepting the world's imperfection gives you serenity and protects you from emotional exhaustion. Epictetus said, if you wish that others would not make mistakes, you wish for the impossible. Accept what you cannot change and focus on what you can control. This mindset frees you from anger and frustration. Instead of asking, why did this happen? Ask, how can I handle this in the best way possible? Accepting the world's imperfection doesn't mean agreeing with disrespect, but understanding that it's part of life. Your calmness in the face of it is what truly sets you apart. Have you ever tried seeing disrespect as something inevitable that doesn't have to affect you? Share your experience in the comments. Lesson 10. Visualize the situation before it happens. Imagine you're about to face a day full of challenges, perhaps a tough meeting, an encounter with someone who often provokes you, or an environment where disrespect may arise. Now, close your eyes and visualize exactly how these situations might unfold. Picture someone treating you poorly, making a rude comment, or trying to push you out of control. How do you respond? The Stoics used this powerful technique called premeditatio malorum, the anticipation of evils. Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily, mentally preparing themselves for difficulties and insults as warriors prepare for battle. By doing this, you become less vulnerable to life's surprises because you've already experienced the problem before it happens. If you know someone might disrespect you, visualize the scene and see yourself responding with calmness, composure, and dignity. Feel the control over your emotions and imagine maintaining your inner peace. This practice trains your mind for the worst, so when the real moment arrives, you're not caught off guard. Marcus Aurelius, every day, reminded himself, "Today I will encounter people who are ungrateful, envious, and rude. But that will not affect me, for they act out of ignorance, and their actions are not my concern." By preparing his mind this way, he maintained his composure even in the most challenging situations. Think back to a difficult day you've had in the past. What if that morning you had mentally prepared yourself? What if you had visualized all the challenges and decided in advance that you wouldn't lose control? Life would have felt much lighter, wouldn't it? Starting today, adopt this Stoic habit. Before leaving the house, visualize your challenges and see yourself handling everything with calm and inner strength. Train your mind for the worst, and nothing will have the power to surprise or destabilize you. Like a modern Stoic, you'll always be one step ahead. Now I ask you, how would your life change if you were prepared for any situation of disrespect? Try this technique and